So I decided that I would go with the Miami Heat trade. The thing is, there is a good chance that the Mavs make the playoffs, but I would really much rather take the guaranteed pick. With how crazy the Western Conference is, I just think it's safer to go with the Heat trade. So Jeff Teague is gone, Myers Leonard and Nikola Mirotic are here. Neither of them will get minutes with us, but he is here. So congrats to Myers and Nico, I guess. I'm sure they love moving from Miami to Minnesota. With Teague gone, we are signing Jeremy Lin, and the reason I'm not playing Shabazz Napier is he really isn't a guy who can score off of the dribble or create much for others. Jeremy Lin is great in the pick and roll, and he's a really good passer. Napier is really just a three-point shooter. I can confidently give Jeremy Lin the ball and ask him to create for me. I cannot do that with Napier. Alright, now we are heading into a game versus the Sacramento Kings. Sticking to the theme of playing against some young teams, this will definitely be the best young team that we have faced so far. After a bad pass by De'Aaron Fox, Andrew Wiggins throws it up to Towns for the easy dunk, and then on this pick and roll right here, Wiggins gets open for the green release mid-range pull-up over De'Aaron Fox. And I'll tell you something about De'Aaron Fox. This guy is impossible to guard in this game because of his speed. There was a game that I played against them in 2K19 where Fox had literally 62 points because of plays like what you just saw right there. I put Robert Covington on him, and the man is able to blow by him despite the fact that he's way bigger in length here. Pause. Wiggins gets that down to Marvin Williams for the easy layup. For whatever reason, Marvin refuses to spot up, and speaking of shooting as a big man, Marvin Williams hits that because I mistimed my jump. Dwayne Dedmon missing that little hook shot right there, and Karl-Anthony Towns gets it up to Jeremy Lin, who is now in the game, who blows by Yogi Ferrell and scores over Bogdanovic for the layup. And in the pick and fade, he gets it to Karl-Anthony Towns at the top of the key, who hits the three-pointer. So far, a nice bucket and a nice pass by Jeremy Lin. Bogdanovic hits the open three-pointer, and then Bogdanovic gets absolutely swatted. And then Jarrett Culver gets it up to Jeremy Lin, who does a spin move over Yogi Ferrell and gets that layup to go. And then that concludes the first quarter, up 6. So far, Jeremy Lin is playing very well. Bogdanovic shoots the heavily contested three-pointer, which does not go in. I just realized that I called Marvin Bagley Marvin Williams, so that's great. Probably the only two Marvins in the NBA. Jeremy Lin once again getting inside. Yogi Ferrell is probably the only guy in the NBA who is a mismatch at point guard for Jeremy Lin. He crosses him over and floats it over Ed Davis, which is a really nice floater right there. And then Marvin Williams gets the mid-range jump shot and greens it, and then we have the starters back in the game now. De'Aaron Fox going inside somehow gets that to go. That layup would not have gone in 2K19. I understand that shooting is bad in this year, but I do feel like layups in particular have gone underappreciated for how much better they have gotten. That's more realistic to where if you have enough space, you're gonna make the layup unless you're just a total bum. Like my career player is a point guard and he has like a 78 layup, but he's able to make layups if he is open, which I appreciate. Because that didn't used to be the case. There would still be some bullshit that would happen on occasion. If you had even 5% contact, you were going to miss it. And speaking of that, Wiggins probably should have missed that layup right there because Bagley had a great contest on it. Robert Covington making that three-pointer does not make that three-pointer as Marvin rebounds it over Marvin. Seriously, who the hell names their kid Marvin? That's, whatever. Buddy Hield somehow does not get blocked on that one right there. I'm cool with it though. We're going to be looking at him in free agency. Jeremy Lin with the step back jump shot that really should not have gone in, but showing that he still belongs in the NBA. Rashawn Holmes misses a corner three-pointer, and then Robert Covington taking the pump fake to make sure nobody contests it from behind, and then greening it at the top of the key. They get a good look to close out the third quarter, but De'Aaron Fox does not make it, and Towns does not make this pull-up that I didn't want to be a pull-up animation. But up 10 going into the fourth quarter, for whatever reason, I gave Harrison Barnes way too much space, and he nails the three-pointer. And then on this play, with the shot clock running down, really struggled to get an open look. And then Jarrett Culver manages to hit this three-pointer. And did you notice how there was no buzzer sound? I have sound effects turned up for the background noise for this video for the actual gameplay. And for whatever reason, they have removed the buzzer sound. A nice lob right there. At the end of a buzzer, or at the end of the quarter, like I don't know why that would ever be removed. Like, imagine if in some point in this series we hit a Game 7 buzzer beater like Kawhi Leonard, and then there's just no buzzer. It would just, I might just have to edit that in from now on. But Noah Vonleh off the pass from Culver. With Jeremy Lin in the game, I haven't been scoring as much with Culver. That's only his second basket of the game. But that's because I've been trying to emphasize getting touches to Jeremy Lin, another three-pointer by Harrison Barnes. But it did allow Culver to expand on his playmaking some more. I believe he ends the game with 5 assists. De'Aaron Fox going inside in the fast break, getting the easy layup. And then Culver tries to throw that lob to Jordan Bell, does not work. And then De'Aaron Fox gets the dunk on the fast break, making this a 7-point game. Jeremy Lin, for his final play of the game, drops it down to Jordan Bell, who hits the layup, and we're getting the starters back in now, probably a little bit later than we should have. KARL-ANTHONY Towns hitting the hook shot right there, did not score a single point in the third quarter. Somehow, Harrison Barnes hits that fadeaway, and eventually turns into Kobe in this fourth quarter. Unfortunately for him, he didn't turn into Tracy McGrady against the Spurs, but I guess that's kind of foreshadowing the fact that we win. But De'Aaron Fox pull up three-pointer right there over Robert Covington, and then KARL-ANTHONY Towns has Harry Giles on him, trying to get some inside positioning, but they leave Robert Covington open and he greens the three-pointer, which is pretty much the nail in the coffin. But as I said, well, actually, Harrison Barnes actually gets blocked on that play right there by Okogie, and then KARL-ANTHONY Towns just spins inside over Buddy Hield. And then Marvin Bagley down low, blocked by Marvin Williams. Marvin versus Marvin once again. And then Wiggins with a spin and the lob to KARL-ANTHONY Towns. And then, well, Harrison Barnes trying to beat Kobe again makes that jump shot. He actually scored like 4 other points that I didn't point out. But yeah, that is the conclusion of the game. We win by 9 points. KARL-ANTHONY Towns had 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 blocks. Wiggins with 13 points and 12 assists with 0 turnovers. Marvin Williams shot the ball well. Robert Covington played pretty damn good. And Jeremy Lin in his debut with us. 11 points, 3 assists, only 1 turnover, 5 for 11 from the field. Really good play. So we are 30 games into the season now. We have a record of 9-21, and as a result, we are projected to get the number 4 pick in the draft. And that means we are looking at guys like Cole Anthony and LaMelo Ball, assuming the lottery doesn't screw us. So I want to dive into the differences between these two players, why we should take either of them, and we will also look into some of the guys lower in the draft. Now let's start with LaMelo. LaMelo Ball is going to be way better than his brother. It's pretty much inevitable. His scoring before even entering the NBA is miles ahead of Lonzo's. His three-point shot is one of the best of the draft, off of the dribble with a defender on him, off a step back. Melo can do it all from 3, and it's reasonable to think that that applies to his mid-range game as well. He has great handle and a really good floater game. He can finish inside, and with his height as a point guard, it's reasonable to believe that after a while, with some more muscle added to his frame, he will be able to post up smaller guards with ease. And speaking of his size, LaMelo is a 6'8" point guard with long arms. It's kinda ridiculous. And the reason he is a point guard and not just a scoring shooting guard or wing is because he is a point guard, like legitimately. He is a great playmaker just like his brother. So offensively, LaMelo is pretty much flawless, and defensively, well, there isn't a lot of info out there, but even if he ends up being a little lacking in effort on that side, his size against guards should make up for some deficiencies. Unfortunately, a big negative with him is the distraction that comes with LeVar Ball. He has been less chatty about the Lakers because they are a big organization with the most popular basketball player in the world. I don't think he would have any problems tearing up the Wolves organization, and as the GM, I'd rather not have to deal with him. Not that it will stop me from taking him if he is the only option, but if he isn't, I will probably be going with the next guy that I'm going to talk about. Cole Anthony. I personally like him way more than LaMelo as a player, and he doesn't come with the LeVar distraction. Cole reminds me of what Markelle Fultz was supposed supposed to be. Cole is essentially Derrick Rose with a jump shot, with some better playmaking on top of it. He is a relentless finisher at the rim, one of the best athletes in the draft, having a 40-inch vertical. He has a really good handle, and he has the jumper. He can shoot off of the dribble like LaMelo, and he has a more comfortable mid-range game, which is a really important skill as a point guard out of the pick and roll. And defensively, there is more information about him, and that info is essentially that he is solid but lacks versatility. He is good at getting steals, but being 6'2", he can be a mismatch at times, something that I won't have to worry about with Ball. But I personally just like Anthony more. I think he has more potential as a scorer. LaMelo is more of a shooter, while Cole is more of a slasher, and I'd prefer a slasher out of my point guard. But if we can't get these two, the next guys in line are Anthony Edwards, Ayo Dosunmu, Theo Maledon, and Killian Hayes. Edwards is ranked up there with Cole and LaMelo, but he isn't half the playmaker that either of them are. Edwards is very similar to Cole scoring-wise, while also being a good bit bigger, but he isn't any more than an average passer, and he really seems like more of a two-guard in the NBA. And if I'm signing Jaylen Brown or Buddy Hield, I'm going to need a guard that can play make. For Ayo Dosunmu, he reminds me of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as a scorer and defender, but also because of that he isn't a great playmaker, which obviously isn't ideal. Also, I'm going to have to be pronouncing his name for this series if I drafted him, so that would suck. Theo Maledon is very much in the same vein as Frank Ntilikina as a prospect. I assume he can be a better player, but he projects to be a George Hill type. Good defender, good spot-up shooter, and okay scorer, but mediocre as a playmaker. And finally, Killian Hayes is a good slasher and athlete and a good defender, but his shooting is a question mark and he isn't a standout playmaker. So unfortunately, we really don't have any great playmakers out of the two guys that I want most, so I do have an idea for a trade if we find ourselves unable to land Cole or Ball. If we have a high pick, like top 6, I will try and turn that pick into Darius Garland, Justice Winslow, or Lonzo Ball. Garland is the most gettable because of the fact that the Cavaliers already have Colin Sexton. I think the Cavs would rather have 2 high lotto picks over 1 and Garland when they already have an established point guard. If I can't make any of those trades happen, I will probably go with Ayo despite my inability to pronounce his name.